Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your interest and joining us. First, let me introduce myself. I am Saima Asgar, Director, ISF Pakistan Chapter, Executive Director, New Life Rehab Center, and Secretary General, MA Jinnah Foundation. And on behalf of ISF Pakistan Chapter, I would like to welcome you all in today's webinar on risks and protective factors of substance use prevention. Especially, we will discuss youth focused prevention. And before we start our webinar, I will share a few things that we as National Chapter ISAB Pakistan hosting this webinar from ISAB Global's platform. As many of you know that ISAB is the International Society of Substance Use Professionals, which was formally established in July 2015. And it really focuses on the development, support, representation of professional workforce in substance use professionals, substance use prevention, treatment, and recovery field as well. Currently, it has estimated 20,000 members in the world, and 22 national chapters has been established under the umbrella of ISAB Global. It is great honor for me to share that it is great honor for me to share that ISAP is also one of those. And now, and people who are working in substance use treatment or prevention field or want to get more information and detail can visit www.issup.net. You can also apply for membership there and become a member of ISAP Global family as well. Now it's time to introduce our speaker guest, a very amazing lady, once again with us, Professor Dr. Uzma Ali with us. She has done her PhD in clinical psychology. She is currently serving as Director, Institute of Clinical Psychology, University of Karachi. She is also certified trainer of hypnotherapy, and she is also trainer of NLP from USA. She has been published more than 50 research articles in national and international journals. She is also author of a book, Code Control and Ethical Decision Making, which is also part of a psychodiagnosis and psychotherapy in MPhil clinical psychology in Pakistan. So we like to welcome Dr. Uzma Ali. Thank you for your precious time and joining us. And today she will discuss about the risk and protective factors of substance use prevention, especially youth-focused prevention. Like assessment of risk and protective factors is the foundation stone and at the core of every substance use prevention program. In more than 20 years of drug abuse research, NIDA has identified important principles for drug use prevention program in family, school, and community. Like prevention programs mostly are designed to enhance protective factors and to reduce risk factors. Protective factors are those associated with reduced potential for drug use, and risk factors are those that make drug use more likely. So thank you, Dr. Uzma. Before we will start our presentation, I would like to also share a few things for our audience that your active participation throughout the session is very important. And for this purpose, we have muted all of you to avoid background noises which may distract you from learning to the webinar. And I would also like to share that after the presentation, we have last 15 minutes for question and answer session. If you may have any question in your mind or would like to ask any question regarding the topic, you can send us in the question box. Also, you can send in the chat box as well. And last thing, I would like to share that recording of this webinar will be sent with certificate through your email and will be available on YouTube, ISEP YouTube channel. So no need to take screenshots, keep focus on the learning, and thank you. Now I'm going to hand it over this session and turn around to you, Dr. Uzma Ali. Thank you, and we'll see you in question and answer session. Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Uzma, and please continue the session, please.
Okay. Thank you, Saima, for inviting me at Pakistan Youth Forum, Pakistan ISEP chapter, and also I'm thankful to the authorities of ISEP Global for inviting me this important webinar. And I'm very grateful to the audience who have attended my last session, and they asked so many questions. They also appreciate the topic. And now I'm also here with another topic that is very important, and it's related to the prevention. Okay, let me open my slides and and reduce the camera. Okay. The topic of today's presentation is risk and protective factor of substance use, and especially it is related to the youth focused prevention. Okay. In this topic, we will be covering some important areas that are related to the substance use and prevention, and that are also related to the strategies that can help in the substance use programs. We will also talk about some important element that should be considered by the program developers and different stakeholders and different organizations who are making programs for the prevention of substance especially with reference to the youth. And we will be talking about some specific educational and skill that our youth should know about, youth should be trained so that he can be prevented from the substance use. And we will also talk a little about parenting and coping strategies, and audience will learn about the factor strategies that are playing a major role in the development and prevention of substance abuse. Substance use and abuse continue to be the important global mental health problem that contribute greatly to morbidity and mortality rates throughout the world. And we all know about the different surveys that has been conducted by different organizations, especially United Nations has conducted different surveys, and he also gave insight to the pattern of substance use disorder, especially in adolescents and other ages. And we also gain knowledge from these surveys about the different risk factor and protective factor, about the prevalence of drug abuse, about the ill effects on different mental health problems. The prevalence of alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use increases rapidly to early age to late adolescence, peak during the transition to young adulthood, and decline due to in the later ages. I think it's very important to know about why the rate of drug abuse is high in the specific age group of adolescents. That is nearly about 15 years, 15 to 16 years. It is a survey that was conducted in by the United Nations for Youth in 2018, and it shows that the peak period of taking the drug or fall into the drug was 15 to 16 years, the adolescent stages. Why it is important? You all, so many, I think professionals have been attending different seminars, and also you are attending this seminar. You have to know about the important factor of the transition period that is taking place in the adolescence year. Since the adolescence year are very critical for the adolescents, because in these periods some important needs are important unmet needs are faced by different adolescence period, and they also have different type of physiological changes into their body, and they also have some changes into their cognitive levels. They also suffer from some emotional turmoil or some emotional changes into them. And due to these needs and due to these level of different motivation, they often cannot express themselves. And it also due to some of their family environment and some of their cultural factor, in which they feel sometimes shy and they do not express their emotions, and whatever they feel in their society or whatever feel in their culture about their goals, about their different desires, about their different opportunities, about their different lacking in their society. Sometime if we say that the problem also arises in lower class, lower middle class, and upper class. And the problem of different socioeconomic status are sometimes different in different cultures. Sometime due to starvation, sometime due to lack of education, sometime due to lack of opportunities, and sometime due to lack of expression of their emotions. These adolescents suffer from frustration. They sometimes suffer from lack of control, and they sometimes suffer from failures, and they do not express them. And due to this lack of power, lack of motivation, they often said we feel boredom. So the factor that is also behind the cause of taking drug is a boredom or lack of different chances, or lack of different opportunities. And if they get these opportunities to participate in different activity, if they get these the chance of expression, if they get this feeling that they can do whatever they want according to their resources or according to their potentials, they come up with a better personality, they come up with a positive personality, and they can resist to the drug. So the importance of adolescence period is very important. And so today we are talking about the youth focused strategies, but we can also apply these strategies to adolescents as well. So the mostly the initiation of drug use early in life contributes to the high level of use. So when the students, any student or any person who is in a adolescence or late adolescence years try to use a drug, they use in a heavy level, because in this age they are very energetic, they are very emotional, and they are very um, focused towards different things or different goals or different choices. Early onset is also associated with host of later negative health, social and behavioral outcomes, including physical and mental health problems, violent and aggressive behavior, and adjustment problems in the workplace and family members. This is so there are so many researches have been conducted on adolescents and youth that shows that a drug when a person takes drugs, it results in a negative consequences. That consequences are affects their mental health, they affect their social health, they affect their psychological health, and they also affect their physical health. Since this is a period of learning, when they start using drugs, and their health is affect, and at the same time, since this is a period of learning, so they cannot take advantage from those opportunities that are provided in their environment, and they cannot get those training that are utmost important in that ages. So when they take drug in early ages, it also affect their workplace, it also affect their education, and it also affect their further family life and adjustment in the society. So the focus of preventive measures is very important, and especially the age levels after 15 years, we have to make different strategies, different plans to prevent this segment of population to take drug or substance. First of all, let me say the understanding of why the understanding of substance misuse is important. According to modified social stress model, people start using substance of or drug due to variety of reasons. You may have read so many articles or so many different theories about drugs. So there are so many reasons why people use drugs. You may know that people use drug maybe due to a lack of information in the society. Maybe their parents are using these type of drug, maybe due to the age factor, maybe due to the availability of drug, and maybe due to frustrations, maybe due to some other psychological reasons. So understanding what the person motivation and needs are helps to explain why that person is misusing drug. So when we talk about prevention at a mass level, or you can say at a macro level. Macro levels mean when you talk about the how to prevent drug in your country, or how to prevent drug in different countries, or how to prevent drug in the world. You have to make plans. Those are related to those are related to individual level, those are related to the community level, and those are related to the wider or country level. So if you talk about the personal level, you have to understand the motivation of the client, of the person, how motivated he is in the life, what are his or her needs and personal factors. So if you understand the motivation of the group of youth, you can understand what strategies you have to design for them. If you understand the basic needs and desires, or psychological needs or social needs of the person, you can design a program for them, how you can provide them. There are a number of factors in one's life that can cause to start using drug or a substance. These factors are called risk factor. There are two types of risk factor: personal and environmental. Environmental factors are further divided into micro and macro levels. I will talk about it. And at the same time, there are some other factors that prevent one from doing so. These factors are called the protective factor. They are also two type of factors. So the risk factors are those factors that may cause a person to take drugs. The first factor is gender of a person. Mostly if we say different surveys that are conducted in the different societies, and we know that the more males use drug as compared to the female. Young age, I have already said that the adolescence, or the period of 15, 16, in which the person is suffering from some time identity crisis. He want to do something, he want to stand for their right, he want to he has different type of question in his or her mind: who I am, what I want to do, what is the purpose of life. And when he does not know about his purpose of life, he become he become feeling he become develop the feeling of different anxieties or different conflicts. And if he doesn't know about his or her needs, and if he does not express properly, appropriately his needs, he become more he has a more risk of developing drug. Or if he is less motivated towards life, less motivated towards education, less motivated towards different goals, and he has a chance to develop substance use disorder. Boredom is another factor. Freedom is another factor that is also related to the boredom. And mental health issues that are also a risk factor for the to develop a different type of substance use problem. Because if a person has anxiety issue, if a person has depression, or if a person has different type of stresses in his life, or if he has some type of personality issues like oppositional defined disorder, antisocial personality, or borderline personality, he has a more chances to take different type of drug, because he lacks different type of coping, or he lack the um, balance in his or her life. And sometimes as he want to cope the situation, but since he lack this ability to cope the situation, he avoid the situation. And sometimes he goes to his or her friend, and if his or her friend uses the drug or substance, they sometimes offer this substance to them. And since he is doesn't he is very submissive, he cannot say no, so he accept this offer, and sometimes they develop substance use problem. Underdeveloped and undeveloped or underdeveloped personal skills. This is also a risk factor to develop a substance use problem. What are underdeveloped or underdeveloped personal skills? They are sometimes we can say the low intellectual level, or sorry, low educational level, and less decision making in them. They cannot take decision, they cannot solve the problem, and they sometimes, if they fail, they avoid these problems. They have negative thinking towards them. They have low self-esteem. They cannot stand for their self or for their rights, and they cannot go forward if they stuck anywhere. And there are some environmental problems that can play a role in the development of substance use problem. Some are macro problem, and some are micro problem. Micro problems are those problems that are related to the family, school settings, and the peer group pressure, peer group. And the macro environmental problem are those problems that are related to the community, that are related to the resources that found in external environment, and they have to go and take that resources from the environment, or the opportunities are not available in the environment. That are macro factors. So the role of parental training, or the role of parenting, is very important. It is very much found in different researches that permissive parenting can play a role for the substance addiction in children. In this type of parenting, mostly parents do not set limits in their families, do not set proper guideline for their children. They are very much friendly, and they allow their children to do whatever they want to do, and there is no proper discipline and check and balance in the family. Or sometimes drug use in a family also lead a young person or adolescent to take a drug, because mostly what happens, children learn learn those behavior the behavior they see in their family. If they see that their parents, one or more parent or siblings taking drugs, they also moderate and start taking drug. Or it is also available in the home, so that it's a easy access for them. Lack of family support is also one factor. Whenever they feel frustrated, or whenever they feel stressed, or whenever they feel failure, they don't have anyone to talk about it or solve the problem. And sometimes they in this situation, they go to their peer, or if their peers, or if the drug is available, it's an easy access to feel high, or to feel relief, or to feel freedom from the stressors. No housing or street living is also one of the factor. Peers in drugs, lack of opportunity for education. In this situation, feel that they do not have opportunity if they want to study, but they do not have money to get proper education. This thing also get them frustrated, or get them stressed. So this fact stress can lead to poor coping, and poor coping can lead to drug addiction or avoidance. Lack of employment, maybe the one factor. Health services, healthy lifestyle are not available in the community. Availability of drug laws and regulation to control the drug use is not enforced in a specific culture where the drug rate is very high, and substance use in culture community is common. In some culture, the substance use, especially some substances like alcohol, or some in some cultures like other substances, are very common and in the culture and easily available. So the adolescents or adults are more likely to take these type of substances. And what are the protective factors? Protective factors are those factors if uh, a person who is a adolescence year, or who is a young year, have in their family, or if have these talents, or if he or she has these type of resources in it, or personal skills in him. So it's there is more likely that he will not uh, take the drug, or he will follow the positive lifestyle. So the well-developed personal skills and internal resources to deal with difficult situation. When we say that the person who start taking drugs, he lacks positive coping, or he lacks problem solving coping, and he cannot deal with the stress. So the skill of dealing with the stress, skill of dealing with a different type of difficult situation, or skills of having a problem solving uh, is a protective factor. And this type of person will handle the situation. He will not avoid, and he will understand that the drug is not the only solution for his problem. An ability to analyze situation, for example, he has an ability to analyze different type of situation he encounters. For example, he may have different situation at home, he may have different situation at peers. Maybe he learned that his friend who has been taking drugs since 1 year, his educational grades are dropped, his friends has left them. Maybe from these consequences, and through the analyzing ability, he learned that he should not take drug, because drug is not good for his personality, his good for his life. So he takes proper decision, and after analyzing the situation, he come back and start taking right decisions. The person who take quick and right decision, who can decide what is wrong and what is right, whether he stayed in that gathering, or whether he should not stay in that gathering because it results in a negative consequences. He learned from different type of negative consequences and take right decision. This is a personality factor or personal factor that can help to protect from the drug. To communicate with others, whenever he or she has any emotional problem, any issue in a family, he discuss with other, he take guidance from others, so that he will be at the right track. To manage stress and know the relaxing activities that he can apply for to manage his stress, and that are very effective for them. To do negotiation if there is any problem situation in his or her environment, he know the skills how to negotiate that for that problem. And enter into compromises means he can solve the problem, and for that he know what are the advantages and disadvantages of taking this decisions, and he opt for the option that is more advantageous for him, that is more promising for him. And there are some environmental factor also. Okay, let me uh, reduce this. Okay. Environmental, there are some environmental factor. Good personal connection with the people. Good personal connection with the people means uh, whenever he has any problem, he talks to he or she talks to his or her parents, he or she talks to his teachers or friends. And he also has a good network of friends and teachers and community. He have some goals in his or his life, so that if he want to do something, or he want to achieve his or her goal, he can go to the relevant people and talk about his desires and talk about his wishes, so that he can get that opportunity. Have adequate external resources like family support, education, sports, and health. Sports is very important. I would say that I also said in my webinar that was on recovery capital. Sports is very important. When one person involved in sports, his physical health, his mental health, and so his social health become better, and he can live a healthy and happy life, and he will also be a physically healthy, and he has different type of opportunities, leisure activities, and he can also develop sense of responsibility, sense of tolerance, after involving in different type of sports. Have a network to use internal resources. Internal resources means personal internal motivation, his motivation, his education, his desires to do something, or his decision making qualities. And if he have a network, so he can utilize these internal resources to the right channel, and he can, that environmental factor can serve as a protective factor to use the drug. Cultural norm discourage substance abuse. This is also a very important factor. Laws that regulate substance use encourage
Dr. Uzma, can you hear me?
community based. Whenever you make any program, it should be community based. It is according to the community where you for which you are making that program. Okay, for this community based program, first you have to assess the needs and needs of the community, and resources of the community, and the different difficulties and different problems of the community, so that when you make a preventive program, you can have the knowledge about the community, about the different stakeholders, about the different organizations that are already working in this situation or in this community. You can join hand with these organizations. They can help you to provide different youth leaders. If they are working in their organization, they can help and join hands with you, and these youth leaders may be very helpful to go to the community and work in that community. The programs should be broadly focused. If you're making a program for the youth, it's not only the youth who will be participating in these programs. You have to take the family of the youth also, or you have to invite the older people also, so that when you do different type of role play, when you do different type of workshops or different type of programs with the youth can do practice with the older people, because when they go back to the community, they have to live with them. So if they practice with them, they can understand their point of view or their perspective as well. So the different programs that are youth focused, family should also be included in it. Fourth principle is better than is prevention is better than cure, focused at different level in community. When we talk about prevention, we have to see the community at broader level, and see what are the factors that are prevailing in that community. We have to deal all these factors that are important for the prevention. Some basic element for prevention of substance abuse, that are promotion of health. This is very important. When I talk about the promotion of health, it's overall health. For example, psychological health, social health, spiritual health, and physical health. All four type of health are important in the promotion of health. If the person is healthy, he can take right decision. If the person is healthy, he can live a good quality of life. If the person is healthy, he can play a role for a role model or a healthy personality or healthy role model for the other persons. Focus on people and encouragement of social interaction. Social interaction is also very important when you talk about the prevention. People networking is very important. You can include this element in your program. For this, you can give opportunities for different role plays and different focus group in the community, in the youth. Specific population is very important. When you make any program that is for prevention of substance abuse, also give importance to the specific populations. Specific populations mean the people who are in minorities, the people who are of different ages, or the people who have some type of different disabilities, or suffering from some special issues. You should also take them into consideration. Long-term perspective, when you make any a program for the prevention, you see how this program will be implemented or for the longer period of time, and you have to make the plan for future years also, and take those people or those stakeholders or those organization with you, or join with them, so that your program will be more effective. And it should be also be your program should also be research based programs. Go to different libraries or see the internet, and get knowledge about the different programs that have already designed, and that are research based, and that give you different promising results. And so you can get knowledge from these programs, and you can also make research based program. Encouragement of positive alternative is always important. Positive, you can select these positive alternative from the culture or from the society, because every culture, every society is different. Some themes are very common, but some themes are different in a society. You can select those positive themes from the specific culture and incorporate these themes into the program. Education and skill-based training to develop youth-focused prevention program. Following steps are important. Get together a youth planning team. This team will help to design the activities, need assessment, and program planning. When you first you get knowledge about the different programs that have already have been designed and implemented and tested in different cultures, you can take the knowledge from these programs, and then you can design or gather the different youth who are working somewhere in different fields or somewhere in different organization for the betterment of society. Take them on a one platform, and make your team, and design the activities with the help of them. Because when you include youth in your programs, you can make better programs, because youth know the youth, or the young person know what are the needs and what are the different type of skills in their peer groups. So or what type of different type of problems in their society or in their community. They can approach the community, they can meet the different people in their community, they can understand their difficulties. So the need assessment and is very important for making any program for prevention. For this need assessment, you can make different type of focus group. Focus groups mean one person, you can make 3 to 4 or 7 to 8. You can go to a group of 7 to 8 people and take their opinions about certain questions or certain type of statements, so that you can get information about their thinking pattern, their behaviors, or their needs and different type of motivation. The goal of these activities are to define the youth culture in your community or where you want to do. Identify the youth people who would be most beneficial for the program. Define the type of activities that you will give that would be interesting to youth, and develop a strategy for reaching a youth के youth से के पास जाया कैसे how you would go to the youth, and how you can include them into your group. For this, people survey and focus group interview methods are very effective. Understand what youth people in your community are doing and what they would like to do in order to prevent drug use in their community. Okay, time is short. Let me complete. Choose your loot either based on different strengths. Size of youth team should be 10 to 15. Find team members, so contact other youth working together. Find a place to work. The future of the planning team. You as a counselor, psychologist, social worker, organizer, serve as advisor committees to the team. The team will be comprised of youth, and you will serve as a advisor to them. Training other teams, role play, drawings, plays, dramas, skits, and psychological and motivational strategies. There are some coping skills that you can teach, or you can give trainings to youth leaders, so they can, when they go to the community, they can teach or train these coping strategies to the community. What are they? The one is problem focused coping, and the second one is emotion focused coping. There are two elements in both of them. The one is cognitive and second one is behavioral. The emotion focused coping is comprised of different type of strategies in which the cognitive skills and behavioral actions are involved. Cognitive skills means some are positive reappraisal and confrontation, problem solving. These all are problem focused coping, in which the person analyze the situation cognitively and then take action and solve the problem. Emotion focused coping is more likely as avoidance coping, coping in which the person focus is more on to solve the instead of solving the problem, he more likely to avoid the situation, so that can he manage his emotions. For example, seeking social support is a emotional focus coping, avoidance is a emotional focus coping, and like that. And giving different type of training on coping skill is very important in prevention. When you give these type of training to general population of youth or adolescents or adults, they can more able to solve their problem, and they can avoid drugs. Communication skill is very important strategy when you make any program for the prevention. Communication skill is very important. So when, according to CBT model of communication, person may use to learn to change negative thoughts. When we talk about cognitive behavior therapy, in which we work on different cognitions and behavior and a person's beliefs. So there are some words that are very important that that should be changed, or we have to focus on the alternative. For example, problem is a word that is give an impression of give an impression to the person that this problem will be staying with him or her, and he may have difficulty to live a happy life, or he may have a difficulty to get what he wants. So the problem should change into situation, because situation is temporary. We can change the situation. Always into never. We change the word always, because always brings so much things that are not realistic, because nothing there is nothing or nothing which stays always, or which stays all the time. So always or never change into often. Should into could have, should is also create some guilt feeling for that person who cannot who have not done the thing according to your wishes or your desires. So the could have is much more better word. Bad into wise, fault into differences, because sometime when you say bad or fault to the person, it's mean you are judgmental toward that person. But when you say there are differences in my there are differences in different type of opinion, it's mean you are not judgmental towards a specific person, but you are saying what is your preferences. Mistakes into valuable lesson. There is no mistake, there is always feedback. Whenever person do any mistake, he can get lesson from that mistake, and then he can adopt to the plan B. Must into preference. There is nothing that we must do that. When we say must do that, we put pressure to the other person, or we give conditions to the other person. Preference is a good word. Please, instead of please, we will say would you please. Would you please is a good word. So when we train our youth, or we also have to train them what are the good words that or what are the words that may bring a positive consequences in their communication. Assertive training is also very important, that we can teach in different type of workshops during our programs. Assertive means the person who is assertive, the assertive person can say what the thing is right and what the thing is right in a very calm and firm manner. So the training of assertive training, and he can manage his aggression, and he at the same time is not submissive. He can say uh, talk. He can say whatever he want to say in a very calm and relaxing way. And he also learn how to resist and how to say no to drug. So the programs which you are designing for the youth always involve this training in your program. Assertive communication, remember three things: confidence, clear, and control. The three C's are important elements of assertive training. The person who is confident, believing in their self, can be assertive. Whenever you want to communicate your message to the other person, it should be simple and clear, so that the other person can understand what you want to do, tell them. Control, you deliver information in a calm and control and relaxing way, so that it will be delivered as you want to deliver. Techniques of assertive training are cognitive restructuring, relaxation training, role playing, role reversal. Role playings are very important and very effective techniques of assertive training. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for listening me. Now I would say for the question answers. Hello, Saima.
Oh,
Are
thank
you
you,
listening
Dr.
me?
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I hope you all enjoyed this presentation. And now we are going to start question and answer session. We also received a lot of comments for you, Dr. Usma.
Okay.
That was a wonderful presentation. That amazing thing.
Thank you.
And now I'm going
Also,
to
due
ask.
to lack of time, short
Yeah,
time,
we have a
I
short.
go very fast.
Yeah, we have a short
Yes,
time, but we'll ask a few questions.
yes, why not?
The first
I'm
question
available.
the first question we received, how can we prevent the genetic vulnerability to addiction? Can you please
Okay.
answer that question? Yes.
Yes, why not? There is a genetic vulnerability to the addiction. So we have to those factors that can a person put into stress. The stress management techniques are or the coping techniques are very important for the person to prevent from the drug. And some are the personality traits that make a person make a person to vulnerable to take the drug. So we can work on these factors. We can identify the different personality traits in a family, and we can work or provide different psychoeducation about these factors of them, or what are the healthy personality styles, or what are the healthy personality traits, so that they can develop these traits, and they can prevent themselves from the to get indulged in the drug. And family, when we say that the family is taking the drug, so the chances are more the offspring or children of these family may involve in the drug. So the treatment of that family is very important. Follow up of the treatment is very important. Recovery is very important for them.
Okay, thank you. For very fast, we are asking another question. This is from Mr. Shafiq. And the question is, as we know, availability of drugs is the big problem. How prevention can be effective, even though approach to drug is easy for youth?
Yes, I've said in my presentation that the law enforcing agencies or law enforcement laws should be enforced, or the government should take some, I think, adopt on that problem, and government should adopt the rightful laws in the society. They should take action for this, and they should involve
Definitely.
in the preventive programs.
Okay. The next question is, how gender can a risk factor? This question we received from Mr. Shahid. Yes.
Gender
How
can
gender can a
when
risk
we
factor?
when we see that males are mostly in a most culture, males are more likely to take drug in different type of society. It can be say that the females, maybe different researches say that females are more tolerable, or females have a more control or more adjustable in different type of stressors. They have by built-in capacity to manage the stress, or to manage in different type of stressors or stressful environment. So mostly research said that the males are more vulnerable, or more take drugs, and females are less, drugs is less prevalent in females. It can be one factor.
Okay. Can we have another question? I
Yes.
think we have a short time, but how can we measure these risk and protective factors in a community or in a school?
Okay, this is very important question. I have said that different type of surveys can help to measure these type of risk and protective factor. Different type of qualitative research can help you to identify the risk and protective factor. Like I said, the focus groups are good strategies. Interviews, through interviews, you can assess, through surveys, you can assess the risk and protective factor in the society. Mostly these type of researches are the longitudinal researches. You see these type of you collect the data once, and then you can collect the data after 6 months, or after 1 year or 2 years, so that you can evaluate the different stages of life, and you can evaluate how the person changes effects in them.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, how can we differentiate risk and protective factors? Because many factors can be both a risk or protective factors at same time for a same person. Can we answer?
Yes, it can be. It can be some risk factor, can be a protective factor as well, depending upon the utilization of these. For example, the person who has some good friends is a protective factor. But when one or two of his or her friend start taking the drug, that friend, the company may be a risk factor for that person as well. Or some stressors or frustration or mental health problem that was not previously happened in his or her life, or previously he doesn't experience that problem, but due to some failure or due to some stressor, he developed depression or he developed some other type of mental health problem. That mental health problem can be a risk factor for them, for that person. So the changes in life.
I think it's enough. We can ask. We will ask questions. We have 2 minutes, Dr. Uzma. I think we have to close. Is it?
Okay, it's okay. Thank you very much, Saima and Aisha, Pakistan, Aisha, everyone, for listening and asking very good questions.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Uzma, once again for answering those questions and your precious time for sharing knowledge with our audience. We are also very much thankful to ISEP Global and ISEP Global's entire team for providing us this wonderful platform and providing us this opportunity to share knowledge. It was a great experience with us that we are make this event possible. So once again, we are also thankful to our president, Mr. Bashir Ahmad Naz. He is the president as the Pakistan chapter. So we are also very much thankful, and we are very much thankful to all our attendees who bring time and join us for this session. And please remember that your certificate with recording of this webinar will be shared through email and will also be available on ISEP YouTube channel and ISEP Pakistan's YouTube channel. Thank you for you once again, everyone. Thank you, ISEP Global team, Ms. Olivia, and Ms. Ola. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.